Hello, how are you? I am Sondra Rapoport, and this is my very first Instagram live talk. I see that a couple people are starting. Hi, how are you doing, Kathy? So nice to see you. I've never done this before. Oh, I'm going to wave at you. I can click. Oh, that's so cool. Anyways, so I'm happy you joined. I hope other people join. Otherwise, you're going to get a really good talk. Can you hear me okay? I hope so. Okay. Oh, Julian, I need you to restart this. How does this restart?
Oh, basically, yep.
Oh, hi.
Or you press this button, and then you type 00000, all zeros.
Okay, cool. Julian is my assistant, so he's going to be helping me. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate it.
I'll be here if you need me.
Thank you, Julian. So I'm going to be using this for visual aids and such like that. But while we're waiting for everybody to join, I love that little feature. I thought I would bring out one of my favorite little statues. It's in the Met, but this is a reproduction that you can buy in the Met. It's the same size. It's a Hellenistic statue. This is actually from the class from Augustus, but it's called the Veiled Dancer. It's a Hellenistic piece, and what I love about it is that you can see it from all sides. It's a 360 degree. You can see here her little foot is kicking out in the dance. Her head is twisting back here, her foot here. All of her fabric is twirling and swirling. I constantly move this statue. There's no which way is first. There's no back. There's no front. So this is one of my favorite pieces. So I thought I would show it before while I'm waiting for people to join. Ta-da! Anyways, so that's what's going on. Hey, how are you doing, Bernadette? I'm so happy you're here. I'm not going to be super boring. I'm going to wait just a few more minutes before I start. I'm also recording this I'm going to try to put it on YouTube and stuff. I'm not exactly sure. So when I started writing this talk about the statues, I realized that I can't make this all into one talk unless I sit here and talk to you guys for like 3 hours, and I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to talk to you for about 15, 17 minutes, and I'm going to answer questions if you have them now, or you can send them to me later. And then I'm going to use those questions to incorporate them into making a second lecture and a third one, and so forth. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So this first one is going to just address some of the basic questions that everybody's been having about statues and why are they coming up? Why are they going down? Why are they so significant now? Why are these statues that have been up for 100, 200 years, why are they now becoming part of our everyday conversation? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm just going to wait another second or two and have another sip of my wine, which is French, not Italian. Forgive me. Okay. Oh, will you turn this on for me again, Julian?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Julian's, he's helping me. Hey, Sean, how are you doing? I'm going to click a little wavy thing at you, too.
Hey, Sean.
You can say hi. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Sandra's assistant.
Okay, so let's just go into it because I'm going to record this and just repost it again too. And then this is going to be the first of many. Okay, so I always forget to introduce myself at the beginnings of talks and of museum tours and lectures, so I'm going to do it, even though you guys all know me. Hey, Nina. So, hello, I'm Sondra Rapoport. I'm a Roman historian and a former teacher with Harvard University's Department of Classics. I've taught classes like the Rome of Augustus, Roman Games, which is gladiators, awesome. And then I've also taught Middle Ages, and I've been traveling the world for the past 10 years or so now with my son, named after Caesar, Julian, and we have been learning this and homeschooling. So some of the knowledge that I'm giving you now is knowledge I give every day to my son. And one of my favorite things to do is to teach. So I'm appreciative of this new venue. Okay, so it's so fascinating for me when my area of expertise, which is the ancient world, becomes relevant on the nightly news every night. I watch the nightly news. There's another story of another statue coming down. There's another type of thing. It's all part of my area of expertise, and now I get to make my area relevant a little bit, which is kind of fun. So what's interesting also is that it presents us with an opportunity to examine the role of art in everyday life, and in how we as a culture can measure how far we've come or where we're standing now according to how we interact with our art as well. Statues that were once acceptable in society are no longer acceptable. Why? Why does this happen? And it happens a lot. This is not a new issue. This is, so as I said, this is the first of several talks. Please send me your questions. I would love to be able to incorporate them into the next lecture. My job is to just expand everybody's knowledge, and that's what I want to do. So, one thing we have to consider is that there's the difference between private art, which is what we have in our homes, which you see often in museums as well, but then there's public art. Public art is the question right now. This is what is representing the people, their cultures, their cities. This is why the argument is happening, because art has a message, and that message evolves, and as you interact with the art, that message of the art also evolves. And I have several examples. So the first question we have to address is why? Why do we even put up statues? Why do we put up public art? Why? Why is this? So the first image I have for you, it's this image of the Venus of Villendorf. This is 30,000 years old. This is one of the earliest statues of the human that we know. Now, we consider this to be, this is a representation of the human form, the female form. It's an a religious type of image. What would you use this image for? You'd use it for offerings, for prayer, for representations of your god or your goddess. So we're starting back at 30,000 years with this. Okay, but don't worry, I'm not going to drag it out for 30,000 years. So, but what that brings us next to is the next type of thing here, which I have. This is one of my favorite things, and this is the temple of Abu Simbel. Let me get a better view of that. And that's in Egypt. And what's fascinating about this is also statuary, but it's architectural. It's colossal statuary. You can see the people in there. They're like itty bitty bitty bitty. They don't even get up to the feeties. But what's interesting about this too is that this is also public art. This is a religious and a political and a propagandic image. This is public art. This is part of, the history of it. Why do we put this up? Ramses the Great, for example, he loved to put up this sort of stuff because it makes him, makes him seem more great. It promotes his image. It makes him more popular. And also, he had the understanding that this is also going to last for the ages, and he built it for the ages. Check us out. 3,000 years later, I'm showing you Ramses and his awesome thing. It worked. It worked, okay? So we remember him. And so that's one of the purposes of statuary. And then we go on to, something I'm more familiar with here. It's the Roman Forum. Another purpose of public art is a lot of these things that you see here in the Forum. This is my own photograph. These are a lot of temples. There's the Temple of Saturn right there. There's the Venus Genetrix in the background. There's a lot of temples here. So, but in Rome is very interesting, is that religion and politics went hand in hand. Hey, hi Drew, how are you? Nice to see you. Hey Ansley. Anyways, so in ancient Rome, politics and art and religion all went together. So that's another time that you see, why would you put a public art here? Because it serves not only a propagandic and political function, but also a religious function as well. Okay? So then I'm also going to post all of these pictures on my Instagram account so that way you can zoom in and do your own thing and stuff like that. And all the pictures that aren't mine, I shamelessly stole from people that I know personally. So, so then that brings us next to the next type of reason why we put up statues. It's not just for religion. It's also, this is going to be a whole nother talk, I promise you. But if you know me, I'm always going to talk about this. This is the Prima Porta of Augustus. This is Augustus. So this is another thing. So what we're doing here, it's commemorating a person or an event. And Augustus is such a master of propaganda and of imagery that he combines so much in this. He combines, he creates the image of the emperor, which continues on. He is commemorating an event. And also he's celebrating himself as well, and also portraying himself in a godlike image. Exactly, Sean. You know exactly what you're talking about. And then another reason why you erect statues as well, it's declaration of ideas. This is who we are. This is what we believe. Welcome. This is this is what statues are supposed to do. They're supposed to convey a message. This is one of the things that it conveys. So it declares our ideas. The Colossus of Roads is another type of colossal, enormous statue that welcomes you to the city, that also tells you what the city is all about. I don't have an image because it no longer exists. But it pretty much says, hey, welcome to Rhodes. We're awesome. We want to make some money. You want to make some money? You want to come? Here we go. This is Rhodes. Awesome. I love it. So another reason that we erect statuary as well is, there's also the question of national identity as well. And then also propaganda. So, the Lincoln Memorial, yes, it's an amazing statue, but pull up the images. If you notice right here on the arms, it's the Roman fasces, and if you know anything about ancient Rome, you know that that's the symbol of ancient power as well. But this is an ancient type of sculpture that's representing a modern person, somebody that represents a lot of the ideas that we still accept today. But this is another type of, but it's also a type of American propaganda. People make speeches in front of this. People protest in front of this. People have recently, vandalized this, making it again part of the national conversation. Again, you have interacted with the statue. It becomes relevant with a new message because you vandalized it, you've interacted with it, it becomes part of the new message. It's very interesting. I'm not saying vandalize stuff. I'm just saying when it happens.
Don't vandalize stuff.
Thank you, Julian. It's always good to hear from the Peanut Gallery. And then also there's another reason why we erect public art too, is because when, it's another way to show the world that, yeah, we're at the top. We're totally living at the top, and we can spend mass quantities of money to get Picasso to erect, an awesome statue in Chicago for no other reason except it's cool looking. It's aesthetics. He's not representing some sort of political message. It's not a religious figure or anything like this. This is aesthetics, and it's the appreciation of aesthetics. So this is another reason why you would have public art. And then another piece, which I particularly really like these. These are the Venuses that are on 6th Avenue in New York, near where the old location of the Four Seasons was. And I really like them because, they're representations of the Venus de Milo, but they're also modern, and it's rare when I like modern art. But also, it's purely for aesthetics. They're not religious Venuses. You're not worshiping Venus. It's because it's beautiful, and it just looks cool. So that's another reason why we have public art. And then, there's a bunch of other reasons. And if I omit something, it's just because of time, and I'm not going to go on and on and on. Anyways, so now we come up to the question of how does this statue's role, how does its message, how does it evolve or change? So that brings us to the question of Christopher Columbus. Okay? Here's this guy. Personally, I like him because, he challenged the whole flat earth thing and please. And he also opened a new way of thinking. But at the same time, we also have to accept the fact that now Public art, statues. It's not what I think or you think. It's about how the public views it on the whole, and how this art is now playing a role, and how we want people to perceive us, and how we are saying this is our new message. And right now, Christopher Columbus is in, a situation where, although usually saying and celebrating Columbus wasn't about him personally, it was about the celebration of the discovery of America. But as we become more educated, we realize that this is a very complex subject. More happened than just the fact that Columbus showed up and then we all showed up and then we had Thanksgiving. There was a whole lot of things that happened that were inhumane, that were mistreating of the native populations. And so this needs to be re-examined. Should we celebrate Columbus? This is a question we're re-examining today. So, the city of Columbus, Ohio, took down the image, the statue of Columbus. It's an interesting thing because it continues the discussion. Even the removal of the statue is symbolism, and it is a powerful statement as well. So next, that brings me on to, again, I always have to come back to ancient art as well. So like museums are filled with ancient art. They're filled with ancient statues and art from the ancient world. This is one of my favorite statues on the planet. It's the Capitoline Venus. It's in the Capitoline Museum. There is a statue that is almost the exact replica that's in the Met, but it doesn't have the full arms. I love it. I love the body, the twist. It's a perfect representation of beauty. I love it. But, it also represents, this was once a religious symbol. It is a symbol of a beautiful woman. It's a celebration of the human form as well. But also this is a representation of the goddess Venus. And in the ancient world, this would be a religious type of symbol as well as an aesthetic type of piece. And, so like they represented gods, the goddesses. So there's a lot of ancient art that represents heroes, and they would be put in public squares. They'd be put in public buildings. The Colosseum, every single little archway had a statue of a god or goddess or an important hero or some sort of important emperor or somebody that furthered the Roman propaganda. So that's one of the roles of ancient art, is that, art having meaning and symbolism, we didn't invent that. The ancients invented that. We're just continuing the same exact thing. It's fascinating. So a lot of these pieces, so this used to have, a different type of significance. You used to look at this and had a religious significance, but now you look at it has a historical significance, or an aesthetic significance, or an anthropological significance, or Roman historical significance, but you no longer look at it and be like, oh, I worship the goddess Venus. So it changes, but yet it's still significant. It's fascinating. So then we come to a statue that is currently in the news, okay? The Teddy Roosevelt statue that's in front of the American Museum of Natural History. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I really like Teddy Roosevelt. I don't often express my personal feelings as a historian, but I like him. I think, I just think he'd be... But, nonetheless, this statue, while originally intended to convey the message of him working with Native Americans and with African Americans as well. Now it has a different message. Now it looks hierarchical. Now it looks like he's lording above them on his horse while the two are serving him. Although that wasn't the original message, it's now perceived that way. And as New Yorkers and as the city of New York and even the museum, they don't want that as the message that they convey. That's why the statue is going to be moved. It's not because of anything negative about Teddy Roosevelt. It's just we no longer agree with this image. This is not how the public wishes to convey itself. We want to show ourselves in a different way. I'm interested to see what type of statue we put in front of the museum, if we put any at all. So then there's also that brings us into the next question is, why is public art taken down? Why is public art destroyed even? So statues are removed all the time for an assortment of reasons. That's part of the reasons why museums are full of statues. Otherwise, they would be just full of paintings, and that would be so much fun. So one of the major reasons that statues come down is simply the fall of civilization. Civilizations fall. Angkor Wat, the Mayans, the Incans, the Vikings. I can go on and on. All of these civilizations fall. There's nobody there to maintain the statues. There's nobody there to maintain the architecture and so forth. So therefore, the statues come down. So in Egypt, I have here a picture of me and Julian beside this picture of a colossal Ramses the Great. It's so giant. That's part of the reason why I included us, not just because Julian's cute, but just so you can get a size reference. Now, this statue, actually, he's missing his feet because it fell down. It didn't fall down because somebody pushed it down. It fell down due to collapse that happens due to civilizational decline. And then there's nobody left to care for the statues and to upkeep the art and such. So it'll fall over time, and that's what happened. We are actually quite grateful that it fell down face first because it went down into the mud and was perfectly preserved. So the bottom is actually a lot more weathered than the top. But still, sometimes that's why statues come down. There's nobody left that cares. There's nobody left that lives there. That civilization is over. And it happened with Greece, so like here we go also. This is also a subject for another discussion, but his is the Diarrhophoros, which is the spear bearer. So this is also a looted statue. So as Greece came down, Athens and Sparta went at each other, the civilizational decline that followed, and then Rome comes in, and Pompey the Great, who went up against, Julius Caesar and so forth, he rolled into Athens and Corinthia and everything else and just started looting stuff because it looked awesome and just started taking it home. That's another reason why.
So what's happening now?
Exactly, Julian. So this statue is actually, it's a looted piece. It was looted, but now it's in Italy and so forth. But also, yeah, exactly. You sack towns. What are you going to do? I mean, if you're the Romans, you appreciate the art, so you take it with you. But but other people would destroy it. So it just depends. So that brings us then to the next thing is that, also, again, the fall of civilization, this is the Colosseum. We all know it. We all love it. But we know it's half down, partly because of earthquake, but partly because of fall of civilization. There was nobody left to care for it. And then the people that lived there weren't part of an advanced civilization. They were just trying to survive. They started taking all the iron nails and all the supports out of it in order to build things and melt it down for other stuff. They started removing stones to build their own buildings and all that sort of stuff. Part of the destruction of statues, public art, is just over time. The civilization declines. People need this stuff for other stuff. The Rosetta Stone was found by Napoleon's soldiers. It was a building stone. It was reused in a wall. They found it and realized what it was. It was just a piece of trash as far as like builders in the medieval period were concerned. So now we come to like another thing is that what's another reason why art is taken down? Well, we also have things like the fall of government or change of political leaders, which brings me to one of my favorite women in all of history. This is Hatshepsut. She's a woman, but she's also a pharaoh. And she ruled as pharaoh. She wore all the business. And you can see that even though she's wearing the pharaonic headdress, her face is most definitely feminine. And I will also post this on Instagram so you can see. But this is my own photograph. It's in the Met. It's fabulous. But look at all the destruction on there as well. After she'd passed, her stepson had been waiting all this time to be pharaoh. He wanted to be pharaoh, and he was super pissed at her. So her statues were taken down and destroyed. Some of them were literally hauled off to the side of a quarry and just pushed over. So they fell 200-300 feet, smashed to giant bits. In the Met, they have several Hatshepsut statues. Some of them are reconstructed out of just a few little pieces. So that's another reason why statues are taken down and destroyed. Political change. Now I'm in charge. Get rid of her. That happens all the time. So like, another, this is also an image that we've all seen. When, this is Saddam Hussein's statue being pulled down. This is the modern world. Same thing. The same thing that happened to Hatshepsut, 3000 BC approximately. And then this is like, what is this, like 1990s, late 1990s? It's the same thing. Statues have the same meaning. You change the government, you take down the imagery. And if you leave up the imagery, then we get confusion, which will bring us eventually to the Confederate statues. But change of government, Saddam came down. So, that also brings us to another image. I tried to get the gif of it to explode, but I'm an ancient historian. I'm not very good with the modern technology. But this is an image of the swastika, giant swastika that was over the Reichstag in Berlin. And after Berlin was taken, it was exploded. And it was a very significant image. You guys have all seen it 1,000 times before. But, this is another reason why public art is destroyed. It's destroyed on purpose. And people cheered when this was destroyed because it meant the end of something and the beginning of something else. It has meaning. Every time you interact with public art, it has meaning. It doesn't matter how evil the art is, but when you interact with it, it has meaning. This is this destruction is our celebration of overcoming that type of evil. So it's all that type of interaction. However, then we come into other types of things. So another reason why, you have, art get destroyed or changed is also you have a change in religion. So as Christianity started taking hold in ancient Egypt, they began to change some of the imagery as well. So what we have here is a lot of Christian vandalism, Christian chiseling. Sometimes they even just sculpted out the faces and that sort of stuff. But here we have over the face of the goddess Isis, there is the Christian cross been inscribed deeply into it. You find this often in Egypt as well, because it is a change of politics. It's a change of religion. It's a new world. They did the Crusades. There was 3 Crusades. They fought hard for that, So here we go. This is, once again, you have to interact with public art. This is their statement. So that's another reason why it changes. Hold stuff higher. Like that. Is that better, Sean? Okay, he wants me to hold it higher. Okay, so this is the image. All right, I will hold it higher in the future. Thank you. So then this also, so we have change in religion, and also there's another thing that you guys might be familiar with. This is one of the destroyed monasteries in England. So when Henry VIII broke with the Catholic Church, all of that imagery had to come down. You got to destroy the statues, you got to destroy the buildings, you got to take it all down. You got a new religion, you got a new situation. It's all got to come down. So here we go. So this is one of the destroyed monasteries in England. And a lot of statues and a lot of art, all this sort of stuff had to come down because it all has meaning. So we've changed the religion. We cannot have the old symbolism. We have to have the new symbolism. It's essential. Okay. So now we have, another type of thing is that another reason why statues get destroyed or taken down is that we have change in worldview. So this is New Orleans. This is the statue of Robert E. Lee, and it's being removed. And, it's because we no longer have this worldview. This is different. So now we have the type of worldview that, this is no longer seen as acceptable as the public, by the public on the whole, to have this type of imagery up anymore. So now this no longer represents how we want to be viewed. And so that's part of the reason why it's being removed. That's why people are protesting. That's why the statuary is coming down. We will discuss this in another lecture. I've always been personally confused as to why those who lost a war would get statues. Usually that's only to commemorate an amazing, enemy. Somebody that when you commemorate them, it makes you seem greater, like the dying Gaul that's in the Capitoline Museum, or the wounded Amazon that's in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I don't understand why all the Confederate statues are up. I mean, I understand, but that's another statue. That's another thing. So another reason why, statues get destroyed is also here. We have an image from the London Blitz, okay? So, you fire a bunch of V-1 rockets at a city, you're going to get a lot of destruction of art and architecture. That's how it is. Thankfully, the British Museum used the subway tunnels, but also you get this a lot too, as well, with other sorts of art and architecture. War destroys things. That happens. The Mozart house in Salzburg was bombed. So many other things, that just happens. That's what happens in war. That happens over time. There's also age and decay, all that sort of stuff. So then that brings us to another reason why we lose art is also through war or through things like that, is also we have looting. So you lose a lot of art through war looting, through theft, through that sort of stuff. So after Athens was destroyed, there was a lot of looting. After during World War II, there was a lot of looting. And I'm showing you this picture. This is, while it's not a statue, this is a painting. This is Raphael's painting of, Portrait of a Man. It is still missing. This was looted by the Nazis during the war. It's still missing. This is another reason why we lose art. We lose public art is because of things like this. So if you see it, let people know. We're looking for it. So then also we have problems with looting and destruction. Can you guys still hear me? I haven't, my other thing froze, so I wasn't sure. But another reason why we have looting and destruction and taking down of art too is again, it's change of government. It's change of civilization. So what we have here is something that happened quite recently. This is in, Iraq. This is the ISIS just flat out destroying. You see, taking a sledgehammer to the art. Now, some of it was staged and now it's for sale, but some of it is just flat out destruction. Why? Why would you go into a museum and take a sledgehammer and destroy art? Why? Because you're changing a civilization. You're changing your worldview. You're changing how things are now. You want people to look at things differently. You want people to view things differently. You want people to do it your way and look at things your way. How you do that is you take down the things from the past. So that's exactly what they're doing. I am in no way endorsing this. I think it's horrific. I can't watch the videos. However, that's why they're doing this, because they want people to look at their own history. They want to be able to rewrite history. You can't rewrite history unless you take down the old history. Otherwise, you have evidence. So then also, let's see where we have. Okay. So now this brings us to, I guess, the final question, which will lead us into the next talk, is why do statues have such a powerful effect? Why do they have such a role in our society? Why do we care? Well, why? There is just some metal image of some dude on a big pedestal. Why do we care? Why do we get so upset? Why do we interact with it? Why does it matter? This is the big question. The answer is very simple, because statues have one job. Their job is to convey a message. Their job is to convey a meaning, to get your attention, to get you to think. That's why they exist. That's why they're here. That's their whole entire job, is to get you to engage. And what's interesting is that, it evolves over time. Now, these statues can have a bunch of different images. I've shown you a bunch of political images, all that sort of stuff. But also, some statues can just have simple images. This is one of my favorite pieces. This is in the Naples Archaeological Museum. This is just a dancing satyr. He's just having a good time. I took this picture from all different angles, and I literally played ABBA's Dancing Queen in the Naples Archaeological Museum. I danced around the statue, just like the statue's dancing, and totally embarrassed Julian, because that's what the statue is all about. It's about having fun. It's an expression of happiness and joy. It has no political meaning. It has no religious meaning. It's not anybody of any sort of value or religious or whatever. It's conveying an emotion. Yeah.
It also looks like somebody's trying to take a selfie.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then, but also it, also it has, statues play the role of human representation. We want to interact with ourselves. We want to study ourselves. We want to be part of the human experience. That's what statues play. The first statue I showed you from 30,000 years ago. 30,000 years ago, before we even had an established civilization, humans are trying to figure out how this all is working. Who are we? Can we represent ourselves? How can we deal with these representations? How can we interact with them? It's fascinating from 30,000 years on to today. And then also, we have the Egyptians, they use all art for all kinds of significant reasons and so on and so forth. That's why. Why does it have such a powerful role? Because it's the power of imagery. And then we worked at it. We mastered it. We use it for propaganda. We use it for politics. We use it for art. We use it for messages. And so it just continues to interact with us. And then so I have to end, of course, with my very favorite piece. This is, again, it's the Prima Porta. Again, it's the statue of Augustus. But with this statue, he sums up the entire image of the new Roman Empire he wants to convey. He is the speaker. He is the military leader. He is the God. He is the Father. He is all of these things all put together into one. He is the religious representative. It is a political, propagandic, religious, aesthetic, all bound up into one. I love this statue so much, but it really does bring together the whole entire thing of why are these statues important? Why do we still interact with them? Because they're designed to be interacted with. They want to be interacted with. This statue, now it's white, but over the years it was repainted so it would remain stylish. The fringe was repainted, went from blue to yellow because the style has changed, because it remained in use. So, you want me to talk about the statue behind me? Okay. So that's the end of what I'm talking about today, about art and why we interact with it and why we use it. But Nina wants to know about this statue behind me. This is a bust of the Apollo Belvedere. It's a reproduction. The Apollo Belvedere is in the Vatican Museum, and it's a giant statue of Apollo. He's standing there with his arms out looking awesome and everything like that. But I love this because, I really enjoy the representation of Apollo. I like the twist of his head. But also, if you see the little golden statue that's right in front of Apollo, that's his twin sister, Diana. And she's aiming her arrow right at him. And I always thought that's a good brother-sister type action. And even though I move Diana sometimes around the room, her arrow is always pointed right at her brother. So I just thought that was funny. So that's all I have for you today. So if you have questions, ask me your questions. I'm going to move up a little bit. You can see me over the words. Sean was right. Julian's going to have to help me do this. I'll make it better next time.
Oh, sure.
No. Don't worry about it now. What about it the next time? All right. That's all I have for you today. Thank you. And yeah, send me questions and stuff. I'm going to do this next Thursday too. I'm going to continue with statues. And then after that, I'm going to do coins, the propaganda in your pocket. And then I'm going to do a little bit of propaganda of Prima Porta. I cannot confirm or deny anything that Sean says. All right. Good night, everybody. Julian, will you do the thing?
Do the what?
Will you do the thing?
Sure.
Say good night, Julian.
Night. See you next Thursday.
Okay, now make sure that